I have just met the best player ever.
And it's from that moment onwards I thought, I can beat anybody in the world. And I was only 12 at the time.
I have just heard some of the most crazy stories I have ever heard in sport.
The first lot went through, how much was that? 5 mil. The next one, 11 mil. It was like, it made 111 mil in 2 hours playing snooker.
And a fella who has been through as much off the table as he has on it.
Keep the chimp in the cage, yeah. Don't let him out. He still gets out.
Sometimes
I let him out. I go, right, let's go. Get him out. Let him run riot. Cause havoc.
And what a top man, by the way. Ronnie O'Sullivan, an absolute legend.
Afternoon tea. Oh, I think it's this one. All right, mate.
How you doing, mate? You all right?
I've got some scones for you. Now,
Nice
listen,
one.
I know they're not M&S scones, but we're in a swanky hotel, so they should be all right, okay?
Let's have a look.
Yeah?
Yeah, come on,
let's go.
Afternoon.
Whoa. Ronnie, lovely to meet you, mate.
Nice to meet you, Ben.
Right, Ronnie, so I was a goalie for 20 years, right?
Yeah.
And being a goalkeeper, it's a bit of a solitary position. You're in your head a lot. But being a snooker player, mate, I can't even comprehend it. How hard was that when you actually start thinking about things and start second-guessing yourself?
It's tough because obviously you're out there on your own and you've got no one to help you in many ways. You kind of got to help yourself. You kind of like, you know, you've got to kind of get through them moments. So it is quite a solitary sport. But I think you kind of get a bit institutionalised. You get, you know, battle hardened. You get used to kind of getting through them sticky moments. Just experience sort of helps you out sometimes. It's tough. I always say snooker's like chess with balls. So you're thinking, you know, like one of my biggest regrets was that I never played a sport where you're physically, like physical sports. I think you can let your endorphins out, and then if you have a bad one, you think, well, at least I feel better because I've had a workout. You know, whereas snooker, it's the opposite. You're kind of just all in your head.
I think for me, that's probably the difference between football and snooker is, especially outfield players in football anyway, you don't have time to really think too much. Do you know what I mean? You're always just doing stuff. Everything's off the cuff, whereas in snooker, it's like, obviously the documentary is fantastic, and there's a bit of the part at the beginning of it where they said you could literally build a robot and he could win every game of snooker ever because it's all about angles, it's all about science, and you've got to think about it to a point, but if you start overthinking it, it's a problem, isn't it?
Yeah, because it's a very technical game, so in theory you think if I technically get it right, I shouldn't really miss. So it's a bit like golf. If you hit a ball like 40 yards to the right, it's not the ball's fault, it's you that's kind of put it there. And snooker's very the same as that. You know, if you don't hit a ball right, you think, well, I know I can pot it when when things are technically right, but there's obviously something not right. But then it's like, do you go down that rabbit hole, or do you kind of like go, no, I'm not going down there, I'm going to trust everything's right and it will come right when it's supposed to come right. So it's a tough one, but I've been down that rabbit hole, and that was probably the worst thing I've ever done. You know?
What's the hardest part when you're trying to pot balls or when you're sitting there watching somebody else pot balls?
It depends. I've been humiliated a few times and had to sit in my chair. That's not a very nice place to be. You know,
I'm sure you've done it to a few people though, you know what I mean?
I think so, yeah, I think so, you know, but having sat in that chair where you've been like, and Higgins, John Higgins and Hendry were the two players that done that to me, I just thought like, I just felt useless, you know, I felt embarrassed, you know, at times. So obviously, like, being at the table is great, but sometimes you be at the table and you just think, I'm not going to make 20 here, so then that's awful as well. So you think, I just can't wait to get back to my chair, get out of this match, and, you know, say goodbye to this tournament. It's, you know, it's a hard game. When things are going great, it's amazing. When it's bad, you just think, just get me out of here, you know.
Jimmy, just how good is Ronnie?
You know, I've seen them all, you know, from the great late Hurricane Higgins, Steve Davis, technical, Stephen Hendry, the greatest potter in the world, and O'Sullivan just has it all in abundance, natural talent, and he's took a bit from all these players and made himself a winning machine. I don't think there'll ever be another one like him.
Is psychology one of the biggest parts of being a world-class snooker player?
I think you have to kid yourself sometimes, you know, you have to sort of put on a bit of a persona, a bit of an act. Even if you don't fancy the job, you kind of got to like force yourself to feel, you know, act in a way as if I fancy the job, you know. You kind of, sometimes you just got to pretend, you know what I mean? Once you show a weakness, your opponent, especially the top ones, they'll pounce on you, you know, they're all over you. So it's important to not show that, you know.
You know the part in the documentary towards the end, it's obviously 2022 World Championships, you're leading, and then every time there's an interval, you can just see the sort of despair and the almost panic at times. And I'm watching it, I'm thinking, how are you going to pull this back? How are you going to get your shit together? Do you know what I mean? And then get out there in front, not only in front of the crowd, but you know that there's the millions watching on telly at home as well.
Yeah, it was quite weird because I've only ever had stage fright twice playing snooker, and it was both in the final of the World Championships. And it was funny enough that it was in the first time I had it was in the first World Final against John Higgins in the final session, where I just thought I ain't gonna be able to make 20 here, because it just got a grip of me. I managed to win, but I don't know how. And the only other time was when I played Judd in the afternoon, and I literally froze. You know, and I think that's probably because the first one I hadn't won the World Championships, and this one was probably, you know, being realistic, might be my last. I panicked, you know.
David, you played your part in the documentary. You know Ronnie. Just how good is he?
I think he's been described as a genius, and that's exactly what he is. You know, he's a special person, special character, special player. All of these players that he was coming up against, whether it was Stephen Hendry, Steve Davis, Jimmy White, you know, all of these great players, legends, you know, saw this young kid coming into the game. He was confident, he played with both hands, you know, and they must have thought, oh my God, this kid is like a pure genius, and that's exactly what he is.
What's it like with the crowd? Do you ever hear sort of murmurs from the crowd? Do you ever hear, like, I'm not saying banter, but obviously in football, I'm so aware of the crowd. I can hear everything. Do you know what I mean? If people can say stuff about me, my mum, everything, they can hear everything. In snooker, it's not the dumb thing, is it? But there must surely be times where you can hear stuff and you just want to have a little go at somebody.
Yeah, it's quite funny. You know, it might have been the odd few times, but actually the snooker crowd, they are quite, you know, they don't really say much. It's sort of like you don't hear nothing really going on in there. There's just, some venues we've played where the atmosphere has been charged. I remember I played Ken Dockett in Ireland, you know, and obviously Ken being Irish, they was all for him. That was the only time ever in my life where the hairs stood up on the back of my neck. Because I heard people say, I thought it's never happened to me. But this time it did, and I was like, oh, wow.
Does that get in your head a little bit, knowing that they're all rooting for the other guy?
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I was like, lovely, you know what I mean? It's like, we got like 1,500 in it, I'm going to keep them quiet, you know what I mean? It was just like the biggest motivation you could ever have. And I had the same with Hendry and Higgins in Scotland, knowing the crowd's going to be against me, and I just thought, brilliant, you know? I revelled in it, I quite enjoyed it.
Right, mate, I've got a few clips to show you today, right? The first one I want to show you, I love this one.
Yeah, I remember that night.
How big do you want to be?
5'10".
So how old would you have been then?
I was, I think I was 9, maybe 10 then. The other kids that I was playing against were a little bit bigger, and I thought, if I don't get to like a certain size, I'm never going to make it as a pro. I looked at Hendry, looked at Davis, I thought 5'10", you know, that's the minimum you've got to be. So when he went, how big do you want to be? All I had in my head was 5'10".
What, actual height?
Actual height? Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I remember being that age, and football for me was just fun. I didn't think about failing. I didn't think about not saving a goal.
Yeah.
Can you remember being that age and ever doubting yourself, or ever thinking, what if I miss this pot, I might leave him in? Never
had it at all. It was only once I got to, I don't know, it's just as you get later on in your career, you know what I mean, you get a few battle scars, the margins are a lot less, you know, when you're playing as a kid, there's 3, 4, 5 chances, you know what I mean, you're not really that good, are you? But you love the game, you know, you're just improving all the time, you think, oh, I'm a better player today than I was yesterday. So you're getting all them little breakthroughs, which just, that's the buzz. But then as you get a little bit further in your career, you think, oh, you know, like, miss a ball, game over, miss a ball, match over. You think, I can't make a mistake. So it kind of then becomes more mental than
Can you ever remember, like, an age or a turning point where you went, this has gone from being a laugh, something that I just buzzed off doing, enjoyed doing, to going, this is serious business now?
Yeah, I think I was 12, and I remember playing in a Pro-Am tournament. There was always someone going to beat me around about the last 32 or last 16, and then I was playing in the tournament, and I remember I played this match, and I potted a long red, cleared up. Potted another long red, cleared up, and it was the first time in my life where every time I potted that ball, first ball, I thought, I'm going to clear up. And I was like, wow, a new world had opened up to me. And it was from that moment onwards I thought, I can beat anybody in the world. And I was only 12 at the time, so that belief was there. Just needed fine-tuning, I suppose, because I was still a bit rough around the edges. But I knew then I could just, as long as I knew I could pot balls, every ball, and clear up, I thought, it doesn't matter who's sitting in that chair, you know, they can't win. For me, it was always about just, if I feel good, play good, then it's just me and the table. So I was never like into like beating my opponent. I never thought like that. My thought process was always about perfecting the game, and as long as I do that, it's irrelevant who's sitting in the chair.
When did you draw play good?
Just play good, and then just let that take care of itself. You know, that was the main focus for me.
Right, mate. I got a clip of Damien Hirst. He seems like a lovely, cool guy. Really, really cool guy.
He is, yeah. He's funny.
You know, he says things like he'd rather play good and lose than play crap and win. And that does my head in. So I just think it's all about winning. You know, you just got to win it. Even if you crawl over the line, a win is a win. And you think, for someone at Ronnie's level, he should think like that, but he genuinely doesn't think like that.
So this could be round one. This could be semi-final, final. It doesn't matter as long as you're playing well. That's it. That'll do for you.
Yeah, because it was just the love of the game. You know, for me, it was like you're going to be playing snooker for a long, long time. You know what I mean? So for me, it was about enjoying playing well, and as long as I'm playing well and enjoying it, then your career is going to feel more fun. You know, but if you struggle at something, I just think, you know, and sometimes when I'm struggling, I think it's going to go on forever. But if I ever thought I'm struggling, but I'm going to come out of it next week, then you probably relax. But I'm not that type of guy. I always think, you know, I'm going to lose it. I'm never going to find that form again.
How much does luck play in snooker?
I think you make your own luck. There are certain players on the tour that do get
just lucky.
get some luck, and some of them are very good as well. And you think you don't need luck. But yeah, so luck's a nice thing to have. But I think you make your own luck. You know what I mean? It's like, I mean, Stephen Hendry was not a lucky player.
Really?
He won the, he never got luck against me because he never really smashed the balls open.
Yeah.
He committed to every shot. He never relied on luck. You know, So for me, he was the most successful player that the game's had, and he never had any luck. So I kind of like always look at that and think, yeah, you don't need it.
I want to know from you just how good Ronnie is.
Yeah, he's taken it to another level in terms of what I admire and what I look for in top snooker is cue ball control and just a bit of artistry, and he has it. Genius.
Simple as that.
One of the maddest characters in the documentary, Ronnie Wood.
Yeah.
How does that happen? Where does Ronnie Wood come from?
Ronnie Wood is like really good friends with Jimmy White, and obviously me and Jimmy White are really good mates. So I met Ronnie Wood through Jimmy, and Ronnie's a massive snooker fan. Always had a table in his house. The Stones always have a table on tour with them, so when they're like playing, they have a game of snooker. Keith and Ronnie, play a bit. So I got to know Ronnie and had some great times with Ronnie and his family, and he's just a great guy. He bought the scones with no clotted cream. I'm like, there's no point.
That's Ronnie's favourite.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's my favourite from Marks and Spencer's. It has to be from M&S because they just do it right. Amazing.
I love scones.
Oh, it's the best, yeah. But they've got to be good scone. I can't have a shit scone.
About time. We never did say it, though, did we? We all right? Yeah, good. Great, man. Yeah.
Brilliant. How proud of Ronnie are you?
Oh, so proud. I mean, he's number one on my list, you know, of magic people.
How important is it to have these kind of guys as friends, you know what I mean? People you can call on at any moment, you can give a ring to. Damien Hirst, for example, I know you talk to him a lot. You've got a lot of close friends. There's a lot of times in it where you're just leaving voice notes for people. How important is it to have them friends when it's such a solitary sport, when you're in hotels by yourself?
Yeah, no, Damien's, like, I always say, he's like an older brother to me. He's like the wise, sensible one. Like you said, just get the win, you know what I mean? Like, you know, I'm the one that's like, I want to play. He's like, just get the win, you know, and you need that, you know what I mean? But he also understands the game, so I'll be practicing and I'll hit a sweet one and he'll look at me like that and I think he knows, he gets it, you know, and just talking to him, you know, Damien had a good way with me because sometimes I get so down on myself and the last thing I want to hear is, come on, you can get through this. But Damien goes, if you're not feeling it, mate, let's go back to London, we're going to have a bit of dinner and we're going to do some painting. And I'm like, that sounds amazing. And then I'll go and play really well and I'll get through it and I'll be like, God, I'll win the tournament. And it's just because he diffused it, took the pressure off me. And it was like, you know, sometimes all you want is just someone just to go like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
who cares?
I love that, yeah.
You know what I mean? You're my mate, I love you, you're the best snooker player that's ever lived. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? We're still going to be doing whatever we've got to do.
I heard a mad story, please tell me if this is true or not. I heard a mad story about you and Damien sat in a pub one day and he decided to just sell some art.
That was the auction at Sotheby's. So we had an auction at Sotheby's and his way to sort of kind of, he doesn't want to be there. It was like, it's a mad thing for him. So we had this massive auction over 2 nights it was, and so they said, well, normally we go and play snooker when that's on. So I just got to meet Damien. So I said, I'll come and play snooker. He was like, yeah, great. And all of a sudden his PA's on the thing. It's like, the first lot went through, how much was that? 5 mil. Next one, 11 mil. It's like, he made 111 mil in 2 hours playing snooker. And it was just the most surreal night, you know what I mean? It's just like mental. And I think even he was a bit freaked out by it. Even he had to go and have a lay down and sort of like, do you know what I mean? But yeah, it was just crazy. But you know, he's a talented guy. He's a talented, but down to earth. The most important thing, he's just so down to earth, so like unaffected by any of it. You know what I mean? He's just a proper guy.
Yeah, I love that. Right, Ronnie, your food's just come by the way here. Pass it. Let me give it here. Let's make some space for this.
Room here, yeah? Get the old lamb chops on the go, mate.
I'll get it, lads. It's all right. Don't worry about it. You stay there, yeah.
We've
got a little bit of lamb chops.
Yeah, I might to eat this while we talk.
Yeah. Oh,
good.
Oh,
amazing.
To win it once and be world champion is incredible, but to do it so consistently and under so much pressure is massive. So, yeah, he's an absolute legend of sport in general.
What do you reckon, 48 years old, still going to be going?
Someone else just asked me that. I'm not sure at 48, but I'll give it a go.
At what point did you start to realise I'm getting famous here, people are recognising me, and how hard was that to deal with at first?
First time I ever got recognised was the day after I won the UK Championships.
That's 17?
Yeah, I was 17, so for that whole tournament I was in a bubble, just playing, and then on the way home at midnight, two old couples sitting there going, oh, we've been watching you all week. All right, well, it was quite weird. But I never got the sort of fame that, you know, obviously footballers, tennis and golf, you know, it's like global, massive sport, so it was a different type of fame in a way, do you know what I mean?
Did you ever sort of feel a little bit worried about the press or the media kind of waiting for something to happen so they could stick it in and expose a story about him?
I think the damage was done when my dad went away.
Really, yeah?
Yeah, I think that was the ultimate sort of like, you know, kind of thing really, and I think after that I think they kind of left me alone a little bit. They could have really been a lot harder on me because I was up to, you know, I was up to things that I'm surprised that a lot of it never got out, to be honest with you. They could have they probably knew stuff and just thought, you know what, he's having a hard enough time.
Yeah, leave him alone.
I've always just stuck to just being a snooker player. I never exploited the opportunities that could have come from snooker, and that suited me, you know. I never wanted, you know, I didn't want to distract from being the best snooker player I could be. So I think in a way they kind of give me a bit of an easy ride, really.
And what's it like nowadays? How famous is Ronnie O'Sullivan? Can you just walk down the street, for example?
I feel lucky that I get a really good response from people, you know what I mean? They sort of, I think it's because I've been going so long. I think they just think, God, he's been around ages, this fella. You know what I mean? I remember I was 16 watching him. Do you see what I'm saying? It's sort of like, it's a long time to be playing your sport. I just try and just keep my head down. Just obviously don't let it get to your head. You know what I mean? It's sort of like, I'm not comfortable. I'm not one of these that, you know, loves it. You know, that's why I don't really go out much. Really, I like to get home, put the old TV on, watch a bit of me sport, and just
a bit of peace and quiet.
Yeah, I love a bit of peace and quiet.
For me, I think you've always kind of been like the people's champion when it comes to snooker. Do you know what I mean? And everybody loves that character. They've had their demons, they've overcome them, and they've fought back. And even winning the World Championship last year, I think everybody would have been rooting for you. Everybody watching the telly is watching it, thinking this is some success story. I was watching your World Championship last year. In the living room with my mum and dad, and we were all just buzzing, mate. Honestly, it was lovely to see.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, and that feels good. You know, it feels nice that that's how people see you. You know, like you've been hanging around a long time, and it doesn't get easier. It gets a lot harder as you get older. So I know people appreciate that, and it's sort of just to still be in there competing, playing. You know, and yeah, it's nice. You know.
I want to talk about when the going gets tough, when you know the dark times. Watching the documentary, you're so open and honest about your struggles and some of the demons you've had. When you're in them moments, I remember, you know, even myself, own experiences. If we go and lose a game, I remember being with England and losing games. Let's all get back to the hotel, but we've at least got our teammates. You know what I mean? We've got our teammates to try and bounce off each other. But it's hard. It's still difficult. And was this where you felt a little bit alone, where you might start just drinking or something like that?
Yeah, I sort of like hit that point. I think I was about 19. I never drank, never smoked, never done anything until then. And then like,
which is crazy considering you brought up in clubs all the way through.
Yeah, I had strict parents though, so I could never like if I'd done anything wrong. I thought like, well, I'm the old man that kind of put me in my place. And my mum was Sicilian. I thought, oh, I don't need that either. So I was undermanaged. You know what I mean? And then Dad went away, Mum went away. I was like, you know,
crack on.
No one could. Yeah, that's exactly what I thought. You know. Shackles are off now, and so I went wild for a bit, for like 6-7 years. Just got it out of my system. I wouldn't recommend it. I wish, you know, everyone says, have you got any regrets? That was the biggest regret of my life. Yeah, for sure, yeah.
Was it just the easiest way to kind of switch off from it all, to escape?
I think it was just sort of blotting out feelings and stuff like that, and just
numb it.
Yeah, just numb it. Yeah. I think I was just lost really. You know what I mean? Just trying too hard, you know, on the table, and yeah, it was just a nightmare of a situation. You know, like losing my dad was the hardest thing that I had to deal with for, you know, in my whole life.
And what's it like like the intervals and stuff? You know. For us as footballers, when we get into the change rooms at half time, if we've been playing badly, if I've been playing badly, the manager's going to give me a good old telling off. Do you know what I mean? Who have you got in that dressing room at that interval to sort of either G you up or to give you a rocket if you need it and get you going again?
Really, I just like to just do what I want to do when I'm out. And if I feel like winning, I'm going to try and win. If I feel like getting beat and going home, I want to go home. I'd sometimes be out there thinking, I just want to get beat here. I don't want to be here. And I'd get beat. Yeah. I'd get back to my hotel room and I think, yeah, I wish I'd have won it. I don't really want to go home. And that was when I spoke to Steve Peters and he started talking about the chimp model, how we sort of, our emotions get the better of us. And then I was like, wow, I've been doing that for years, you know. So then I was playing and I could feel how I was, where my head was going. I was shit, that's what I've been doing all these years, you know what I mean? It's just sort of like sabotaging, but not knowing why. I mean, I was like, okay, so I still have them thoughts, but I wouldn't kind of go with them. I was like, I'd dig it out and I'd grind and I'd grind. And I'd get to the quarterfinals grinding and thinking, and all of a sudden my game would come and I think, God, this is unbelievable. Do you know what I mean? It was just because I stuck in there. Which I wasn't prepared to do before. So my back end of my career has been much better than my front end of my career, which is quite weird in a way. But it was just all down to the headspace that I was able to get in to compete and kind of, you know, grind it out sometimes.
Keep that chimp in the cage.
Keep the chimp in the cage, yeah. Don't let him out. He still gets out.
Sometimes
I let him out. I go, right, let's go. Get him out. Let him run riot. Cause havoc.
Right, Ronnie, final clip, mate. And this one, mate, I absolutely love it.
Oh, look, the kids. Oh, yeah. I was gone.
Yeah.
I was gone. They know. They've been with me, they've seen me go through it. So it's sort of like, you know.
You've done it. Oh, mate.
Yeah, I felt like I was letting them down. You know, in the afternoon, the way I played, I just felt like I was letting them down. I thought they've come all this way and I've cracked up. It was horrible to, you know, be in that arena and see your children watching you like disintegrate, you know what I mean? It was horrible. So just to kind of come through that, and I didn't think I would, you know. So it was it was really emotional, you know.
I think this part of the documentary, it proper got me.
I know it's your dad, but just how proud of him are you?
I'm very proud. I'm excited to see it. I haven't actually seen any of the documentary yet, so I'm excited.
Have you seen it yet?
No, I haven't. I can't wait. I'm so proud of him.
I've seen it before you guys then. I promise you, it's absolutely bouting.
Then obviously you go, you hug the kids, and again it comes out, and you say, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
But then fast forward another few minutes, and there's a picture. There's a bit where you're all hugging each other.
Yeah.
You've got Fred from Betfred there, and you're introducing him to your dad, and your dad actually says, "That's got to be it, hasn't it, Ronnie? That's got to be it." And you say, I don't know.
And I'm still not sure, to be honest with you. I just think, you know, do I really... Like, when I say through the mustard, it's only the World Championships. Yeah. All the other tournaments are a piece of cake, you know.
Really? They just don't touch the sides in comparison?
No. That venue just brings out the demons in you. It's like the most intense atmosphere. And you ask any snooker player that's gone there, it's the most freaky place to play. It's on you. From the minute you go in there, you think, whoa, this is like a scary place. And you either thrive in there or you don't. So yeah, it's only that tournament. No other tournament would make me feel like that. That's why I just say I don't think I can do this tournament anymore and try and win it and go through it, because it's just not worth it. I'll be honest, it's just not worth it. You know, when you're growing up and playing, you want to win the World Championships, but like I say, you know, I'm not seduced by winning the World Championships anymore. I've done 7 of them, so that sort of feeling of like I want, you know, it's not worth the stressing that I put myself through. But it was only because, like, the film crew were following me, and that was a part of my thing to sort of do it. I just thought, come on, like, it's like my Rocky moment now. Like, I've got to really I've got to go for it here, you know. And that was a way it made me really focus and go for it, you know.
Right, Ronnie, this has been incredible, mate. Before we go, you've got your premiere tonight, by the way, so you've got to get going, but you've got to try these scones, please.
Get a good scone, yeah?
First,
it's all right, that little
what
scone.
you thinking straight away?
It's all right. Cream on top of there, look, wow. Get rid of that jam, not too much, that's enough. All in one.
Go on then, what's it saying?
Yeah, it's right. Yeah, it's good. It's right. Yeah? Yeah. Yeah, it's decent, yeah.
M&S quality?
Have another one. It's all right. Yeah, not M&S quality, though. Not M&S quality, but it's all right. It's all right.
I failed. Sorry, mate. I'm sorry. Right, Ron. World class. Thank you so much, mate. I'll see you later on the red carpet, yeah?
Yeah.
Suited and booted?
Suited and booted, mate.
Suited and booted.
Suited and booted. Let's do it.
Here he is, Ronnie O'Sullivan on the green carpet, not the red carpet, the green carpet. What an absolutely top bloke. I've been lucky enough to have already seen the documentary. It is world class, I can promise you that, even if you know nothing about snooker. I'm off into there to watch it on the big screen now, but you can of course watch it at home on Prime Video.